Amazing, Michael. Thank you for having this call with me, this interview.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you for having me, Tim.
yeah, of
Thanks, man.
course. Like you and I are both productivity coaches, consults. That's oh my, yeah, productivity coaches, consults, and I kind of want to pick your brain upon what kind of target audience that you have, like what kind of led you into doing this kind of stuff, and just being curious for you in general. So could you kind of give me like a short introduction of yourself?
Sure. So my name is Michal. I'm a productivity coach. Although I sometimes cannot decide whether I'm more of a coach or a consultant, that's probably a little bit of both. Um, and so, yeah, I work for myself. And just to keep things very simple and short, yeah, I help digital solopreneurs to go from overwhelmed to organized. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
Ah, really amazing. Oh, it's
I
already a
also
very specific target audience.
say it again.
You already have a very specific target audience, as in the digital
Yes, it took me a
entrepreneurs.
while to find my audience, but yeah, now no, I do. I'm glad. Like there was a lot of experimentation I had to do to arrive at this conclusion. Yeah. What else? I can say I travel a lot. So every couple of months I switch country that I'm in. Like some people may call me a digital nomad. I'm probably more of a slow mad than just a regular nomad traveling all the time. I lived in 9 different countries already. So yeah, I still looking for my place in the world, so to say.
Oh,
And
so
I'm
it's a journey as
interested
well
in,
there with the traveling.
so, yeah, so yeah. And I'm interested in all things related to personal development, spirituality. That's just, different ways to improve and evolve myself. Just constantly get on a, to constantly level up,
Yeah, really
let's
amazing.
say.
And what kind of sources do you normally um, grab for self development?
Sources I use or Um, I use YouTube quite a lot in terms of like if you're asking me about the content or information I consume on these topics, then yeah, I would say YouTube. And I try to curb my use of YouTube. Like sometimes it's too much because there's so much great stuff there.
Yeah.
Um, and so and sometimes books or ebooks. I'm really a good friend with my Kindle reader, as you know, being a traveler. Just that's an easy way to read books. And so yeah, like the different people I exposed myself to. Uh, so just spiritual masters like Sadhguru or David Hawkins with the different levels of awareness, things like that. I read some books on yoga. Yeah, so
Wow.
that's
Like I really love David Hawkins myself as well, with Poe versus Force or Letting Go. Like top
yeah,
notch.
because and it's interesting, right? Because like in terms of spirituality, for example, like on the surface, what does it have in common with productivity? But when you dig a little deeper, it actually has quite a lot.
Yeah. And that's a kind of nice segue with the question of what does productivity mean for you personally?
Uh, what does productivity mean? Well, I would say it's an ability to live a balanced life and to sort of feel like you have like all the major areas of your life wherever you like whatever makes you happy. um you sort of, yeah, you feel well balanced. So there's like your engine is fires on all cylinders, so to say. So it's just, some people may achieve great results at work, but just have their personal life, like totally in chaos. So I wouldn't say that's a good case of being productive. So for me, it's sort of just, yeah, keeping that balance. And wherever I see that I'm sort of starting to lean out of balance, just to take action to, yeah, just remediate things and put it back into balance. So that's something like
Mm,
that. Just, I would say it comes down a lot to managing your energy, and that's of course how it also connects with spirituality for me,
yeah, yeah, amazing.
right?
And you mentioned that your target audience is the digital solopreneur.
Yep.
Um, like what kind of issues do people normally experience, and what kind of solutions do you give them?
So yeah, oh well, that's a good one. I would say so. Very often when like someone becomes an entrepreneur, or like in this case, you know, a self-employed entrepreneur, what happens is they realize, like if it's their first time especially, or if they switch from being like an offline entrepreneur to being a digital entrepreneur, what happens is, yeah, they just realize that, like, first of all, you need to be sort of a one man army. Like if you have a job, a 9 to 5, you just have to focus on your little area, and of course the whoever your boss is, you know, they demand from you, like require you to be productive. But yeah, once you switch to your own business, you realize you're basically your own product department. You're your own marketing department. You know, you have to do accounting, taxes. It's like this. Whoa, like what's going on, right? And some people just really get overwhelmed and find that they actually have very little time left for, let's say, work with their clients and yeah, just the most important things that drive their businesses, marketing, sales. So the ability to be well organized in this case is extremely important, at least until the point you can yeah, just get going to the point where you can hire someone else, and so then start giving out different things that you've been doing yourself to other people. So yeah, I would say that period from becoming an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, until the point where you hire someone, like this vital period is very often very stressful, can be overwhelming, and that's guys like ourselves, that like us, me and you, think we can help a lot. And you know, nowadays with so many people working online, I think we'll never run out of clients.
True. And is then the idea of your target audience also that they get employees as fast as they can, when the money is available, so they can kind of get some of the work be done by other people? Is that ideal?
Not always, because some people, they just want to be solopreneurs, and that's it. They don't want to deal with a team, or yeah, I would say it depends on the person, so and the kind of lifestyle they want to live. So some people, they may be totally okay staying solopreneurs. They just want to organize themselves to a point where, yeah, like a lot of things that they do are automated, and just they can focus on their main thing, on what it is that's, you know, their interest or passion and what they like most in their work. Some other people, yeah, they may want to hire a team. Um, yeah, but I also observe that for some entrepreneurs who have like too many people that they work with, like in terms of the team, that they also lose a bit of this mental peace, because there's always someone getting to them, trying to, hey, right? There's like
That's a big
too many
one. Yeah,
points of contact,
yeah.
and and so yeah.
And do you have like a specific package that you help people specifically with like organizing their agenda, with getting things done system, or inbox to zero, or like stuff like that?
Yeah, of course I do. And it took again a little bit of experimentation for me to arrive at what my package is, because like at first I tried different to work with different types of clients, like entrepreneurs with teams, online, offline entrepreneurs, um, and yeah. So right now in the current form where I help entrepreneurs, my current package looks like this. So we usually start with getting clear on their life vision and their values, because that has a lot to do with being productive. I mean, if you want to be productive, in the first place, you should probably know why do you want to be productive and what it is that you want to build. And so we always start with values, like what's important for you in life. Like is it a sense of adventure? Is it, or maybe is it stability? Like these are two extremely different, values. Can be like, and so based on that, we sort of, yeah, I walk my clients through the process of creating a layer life vision in different areas of life, like their physical fitness, mental fitness, social life, work, um, finances, things like that. And so now we have an idea. Okay, so this is what you want to do, like maybe a couple of years down the road. That's where you want to be in your life. Okay, so let's now look at, like, how can we turn some of these things into more tangible, like pieces that we can carve out from that vision, and we can work on that in the next 12 months. So we basically turn that into goals.
Hmm.
And then we further break those goals down into projects, um, tasks, routines, things like that. So yeah, so we make it really specific from this big general vision. Step by step, we get into like small daily actions that they can perform. And now, um, it's important to also create the environment for them where they can perform or like manage all of these tasks and projects, and that's where we get more into the digital stuff. So yeah, tasks, like digital environment, digital spaces, just how you manage your desktop files, email, how do you manage your task. Like, do you want to use an app, yeah, your calendar, even how you work in your browser. Like, because so we find that with digital people, and there's different personality types, but many people struggle with just being overwhelmed nowadays. There's so many things, right? I had a client who had like 15 thousands of email in their inbox.
It's a big one, the email.
They just never cleared it out, they just, and it was so overwhelming and for them, because it's like all of these open loops that were in their mind, like, hey, all of these emails sitting there, that maybe it's there, something maybe there that I should have handled that I haven't. And so that takes your mental peace away from you. And so yeah, so I work with people to create that clean, light digital environment where nothing is overwhelming. They're like, so for example, one of the first things we do is we clear out their desktop, like where a lot of people have different files and folders. Like, it can be a mess. We clear it out. There's like a step-by-step process I walk them through, and yeah, to sort of organize themselves and keep it organized.
And how do you, yeah, as in what kind of structure, step by step, do you follow? Is that a little bit based on the PARA system, the Project Area Resources Archive system, or do you use some other framework?
Yeah, I think you're referring to a Tiago Fortes system. And to be honest, I know a little bit about that, but it's intentionally, I haven't, you know, like got too deep into that yet, because I wanted to sort of build my system on my own. But yeah, some parts are quite similar to that, as far as I know it. Um, there are some differences as well, but I think para is, I mean, yeah, it's like it's a very efficient system, right? It's just that maybe I name some of these things a bit like in my own way, but the essence is probably the same. And it was quite interesting because I developed this system. I didn't know about like Tiago until like maybe 2 years ago, and then I realized, hey, there's also someone else working on this stuff, and then yeah, I realized that we like actually have a similar approach, at least in this respect. So there's that. I would say the yeah, I there's a couple of principles I apply to that. So there's like minimalism, there's a 80-20 rule, there's a Japanese, I believe it's like 5S rule. It's
Good to
like
know that.
more like a lean philosophy.
Okay.
It's yeah. So it's basically a couple of things. Let me say this. I will use an analogy. For me, like the productivity system, where it's like maybe a computer or a phone or whatever tool that we use, an app, it's a system like it, and it's very similar to the digestive system like in our bodies, where we consume certain things, we digest those things in our stomach, and then like that food gets absorbed by our body, or the basically got disposed some other ways, like the waste. And so with digital information, for me, it works very similar because we consume stuff, but the problem is that we often consume too much. We try to put too much onto our plate that we are actually able to chew and consume. So that's the first problem. Uh, yeah. So for example, what I do with clients, we like all of those sources where information is coming from, we try to map it out, right? And then we see like, okay, where are you getting too much information to sort of making you overwhelmed? So we try to sort this out, and then the rest, that's so you're left with the amount of information that you're actually able to digest, with in terms of how the supply of your time, your mental energy, right? But then we also need to, whatever that is left, um, this information, I would say, you need to also, once you've used that and it's no longer needed, you have to find a way to get rid of it. So very often you would like delete that stuff if you no longer need it, or just simply put it into some kind of an archive, like in the para method, right? um, and so yeah, because many people, like, once they've used a file or a folder, whatever it is, they very often leave it there where it is. So what happens is those files accumulate over time. You get more and more and more, and then finally, like, you end up with this huge chaos, where you don't know like how to find things. It's like, yeah, it gets messy, right? So yeah, I would say it's really after you've digested that information and it has served its purpose, get it out of the way so that you can keep your system light, and it just work more efficiently.
Yeah, yeah. The noise is a big one with the overwhelm of information.
Yeah, because also like very like if we don't put limits on the information we consume, it can be really a lot. Like with all of the like never-ending feeds,
Yeah.
social media feeds and stuff like that. And I think what I found works really well, and the reason why we get clear on my clients' values and goals and tasks is that ideally you should only be consuming information that's related to your most important goals. So if something is not, then you're just, yeah, you're just wasting your energy on something that's will not give you any progress whatsoever.
Yeah. So really reducing the input of information that you're having into your system. Like, actually, don't watch it. Not another course. Not another
Yeah,
workshop. Just reduce, reduce.
Yeah, reducing input, but also making sure that the input that is left after you reduce the stuff, that shouldn't be there. It's only like high quality stuff that's will help you with your goals in different areas of life, whether it's health, wealth, social life, things like that.
Yeah. And do you know um I don't know if it was Tiago Forte as well, the code system.
um,
So capture, organize, distill, and express.
yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with it, probably like not to the degree that you are, but I believe it works sort of in a similar way what I do. um, but yeah, what about it?
Well, it's a nice one because you mentioned regarding then making information that you've captured into very distilled and very high quality information. I think that's a very valuable thing for most of us who actually write a lot of notes, but actually don't do that
Mm.
step of distilling it to what do I actually need based on this information.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a train
I
of
mean,
thought.
okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I kind of wanted to ask another thing. Like, what kind of problems do you often see that digital nomads experience? Is that not having that end goal and value, or what kind of other problems do they often experience?
Well, in terms of digital nomads, I would say it's the problem lies more in the lack of routines. So what happens when so you're if you're a nomad, like in order to be productive, I mean, productivity in my mind is it's mostly about routines. Um, and so when you travel from one place and move from place to place every couple of weeks, what happens is you're putting a lot of additional tasks onto your plate that like wouldn't be there if you just stayed in one place. So like in my case, and I learned it the hard way, like for example, when I traveled in Mexico, I lived in Mexico City for like 2 months, and then moved to Guadalajara, and then to Querétaro, Cancun. And I realized that, hey, like in each of these places I need to find my um, find a supermarket like in my area, and actually figure out in that supermarket, just go around and figure out where can I find my favorite products, like the stuff I eat, right? Or where do I find my healthy food store? um, and yeah, so there's a lot of research that comes into play where you go into a new place, like, and where is the laundry? Okay, I need to do my laundry from time to time. The thing is that all of that takes place, and or like a new cafe that you want to work from. Uh, so I would say that that first week is always wasted into setting yourself up. And so if you travel every 2 weeks, let's say, then I mean,
Half of the time's already gone, basically.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
so you really need to pay the price. And if you're okay with that, just being less productive, then that's cool. That's why, yeah, I prefer to be a slow mud, so to say, than just a regular nomad and stay for a couple of months at a time in a single place.
And what do you suggest then for digital nomads to solve that issue? Is that travel slower or try to do less?
I would say maybe slower, stay longer in in a single place. Like say, instead of like if someone travels every 2 or 3 weeks, yeah, just stay for maybe 2 months. Um, and, and then also, yeah, depends like what it is that you do. But I usually have my in my task manager. I keep just a list of tasks that I do. Like I use checklists, right? So, for example, if I need to pack for another travel, I would go through a checklist. There's a packing list that I have, and yeah, I just every time I'm just checking items off make sure that I packed everything, and yeah, so that's one way. And then once I arrive, I have like post arrival checklist, all the things that I have to do. And maybe prior to arriving to a place, I've done a bit of research on where are those supermarkets that I want to go to, like, the laundry, any potential cafe that might be like up, my alley, things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So you're preparing with what kind of steps that you need to take whenever you come into a new place, as in look for
yes,
the grocery, look for the laundry room, look for this, look for that. So just creating that method behind that.
yes, because I want to get handled all of those things that would distract me from working on my business, and I want to do it as efficiently as possible. And then, yeah, and then I try to maintain the same healthy routine that I would usually have, because it's so easy to just say it, uh, like in terms of, like, for example, my diet and physical exercise. I always do those. So yeah, I just try to handle those when I travel in the morning, and then, yeah, I work, let's say, from late morning until the afternoon, and I would have the rest of the time to sort of go out and explore. That's how it structure my day. um, so yeah, these are like some of the quick tips that come to mind.
Yeah, yeah, really nice. And because a lot of the digital nomads experience the travel and like setting up new things that you can help them with. Like what I'm seeing quite often is that many people are feeling overwhelmed based on not having any or like reoccurring things that they kind of need to like keep doing, keep finding passwords, keep finding like the
Okay.
agenda. What kind of like the real basic things that is withholding them from experiencing freedom.
Okay. Right. Okay. I know what you mean. And from that point of view, yes, of course. So they sort of, yeah, need to, the idea is also to, like, the help them organize themselves to the point where they don't need to sit with their eyes glued to their screens all the time, because the reason why they are nomads is that they want to have both things at the same time: work and explore and have fun. So yeah, like, the more efficient they are at, like, with their work stuff, just being well organized, yeah, the more time they'll have to enjoy their time and then explore. So yeah, you're definitely, like, spot on regarding that.
And you often work together with clients for longer periods. You just mentioned 12 months already, but longer periods is most useful for you.
So, I mean, if you're asking me about, like, my typical engagement with a client, it's usually about 3 months or 12 weeks.
Yeah.
12 weeks, yeah. So yeah, so for example, like, we first session, we just dedicate to getting clear on their vision goals, and then we move sort of like every week we would handle a different tool. Like, so for example, like, how do you manage your email, how do you manage your files, things like that.
Hmm. And then you have like a list of all of the options that you have listed out, as in yeah, mailbox to zero or action management, or and then you can go through that based on the story that they have and based on the values that they're experiencing. That you're like, okay, I think that this will be the most valuable for you right now, and
Yeah,
you're going to lean into that one.
yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, so yeah, of course I do have my process, but then we always try to adjust it, and personalize that process to, as a person that I'm working with. Like, everybody's an individual. So yeah, like, some people may be better off with Notion, right? But some other people may be better with some other system, because, yeah, like, for various reasons.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm still like babbling between Notion or just Google within the Google environment. Both of
I
them have
know,
some benefits.
I know. Yeah, yeah. It's a good question, right? Do you use a tool that's maybe like average in many things, but it has everything is in one space, or do you go to like specialized tool where you have to switch between them?
Mm,
Yeah, it's a personal choice, right? Personal preference.
yeah. And what do you personally prefer?
I used Notion for some time. I would say maybe 2 years or so. But I finally realized that my yeah, like I prefer to work in tools where there's like yeah, they're a specialized tool. So for example, now I would have like yeah, specialized task manager, specialized app for note taking. And if you're wondering what they are for me, so for tasks I use TickTick.
Hmm.
It's a pretty good tool in my mind, like in terms of task management for solopreneurs. Like if you don't work with other people and you don't have to share tasks, it's pretty good. And there are some other tools like that, Todoist and whatever. And then for notes, I would use Craft. I Before that, I used to use Evernote, but I fell in love with Craft, and it's like I love. I'm a visual guy, and I really like tools with nice, sleek interface.
Yeah.
And so Notion didn't give me that, which was yeah, like one pain that I had with Notion. I really love some functionalities of that tool, but I really love tools that are a bit like where the, they care a bit more about the design element. That's why I use, for example, Mac. I would prefer Macs over Windows because that visual design element is it's much better.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's massive difference. And because you have then different apps for your notes and for your tasks, for example. And do you combine those with a software, or do you keep them fully separated?
There's sort of a, some interoperability between them, and I wouldn't say I don't connect them with certain tools like there's like IFTT or just I forgot name of the other tools, but yeah, there's like some ways to
Or
automate.
Zapier or something like that?
Yeah, so I don't do that. I I don't think in my case that I need it. Yeah. So, for example, when mm, sometimes just paste links to certain notes I have into my task manager. So that's the way. Or for example, like from my bookmark manager, like if there's a page with bookmarks that I need as a part of certain task in my task manager, then I would paste a link there. So connect them sort of yeah this way. And yeah, I would say this way.
Nice.
And so there's, for example, my email is connected to my task manager in a way that I can send some of the emails as tasks to my task manager, perhaps this way. Mm. Or my note-taking app, there's also like it's connected to my Google Calendar to sort of for me to yeah just um, let's say take notes on certain events that are happening. Yeah,
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah. What I like, for me, the biggest benefit of Notion itself is that it's one centralized spot where you can kind of drop in everything, like including like um, images, appendixes, notes, contact lists, databases, calendar, actions, projects, areas. You can kind of drop everything in it um, if you follow the structure. So getting things done, para, set up custom system.
Mm.
Because what for me the biggest challenge was switching not from software, not focusing on software, but focusing on the methods behind the software. That was a massive one for me personally.
Okay, and what's the advantage of that in your mind?
Is understanding how your own digital software or solution looks like. 'Cause I know when I go through my contact list, I have all the action that's connected to that contact list, and that's filtered on next, someday, maybe waiting for action. Um, and that also connects, all of those actions also connect within the project or have a
Mm,
specific goal. And that project is part of an area which includes one of my parts of area. So 12
okay.
areas of life. So that is a method, and I can build that within Excel, but also within Notion, but also within Google Calendar if I want to.
Mm,
So it's not really focused on the software, but it's focused behind the system that's underneath it, or the method that's underneath it. That really helps for me.
got it. Yeah. And so you use Notion as your second brain for now, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
slowly noticing that I'm leaning more into Google, but Google has some limitations that Notion has freedom in.
Yeah.
So
It's like it's like my experience, like living in different countries. I discovered there's no ideal place in the world. There's always something missing, and it's similar with the digital tools. Like
yeah,
there's you just have to make peace at some point with, okay, I'm gonna use this stuff, and I'll just be okay. I'll just accept all everything that's missing. I
yeah,
understand you using Notion. I mean, it's great from the point of view that everything is one space, and yeah, everything connects to know with each other. So that's from that point of view, it's definitely great.
yeah. But if you're not a programmer, because you have some background in programming as well, right? You have some
No,
programming
no,
skills.
no, no, not programming. Like my background is a bit different. We can talk about that in a moment if you like. But yeah, no, not really.
Yeah, well, the downside is if you kind of need to have some programming skills to kind of be able to manage Notion
Oh,
or Excel, like understanding the table and filtering, and Google has some benefit of not actually having that.
okay, right. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, so with tables, certain formulas that you input into the tables, like to calculate
Yeah,
or automate certain things. Yeah, okay,
yeah.
got it.
So,
Hmm.
but what's your background? What did you do beforehand?
So I had a very, a couple of years of a unfulfilling career in recruitment. I would, yeah,
Unfulfilling.
unfulfilling. Yes, I
Okay.
used to recruit in the digital space actually for different startups and also bigger companies, but overall in the area of technology. So I would recruit, yeah, many, for example, programmers or IT project managers, yeah, just software developers, software testers, people like that, data scientists. So I know quite a bit about technology, high level, let's say. But yeah, I'm not, I never got to learn programming myself, just maybe tiny bit. Um, and yeah, so that was a couple of years I worked in that, but I never felt fulfilled in that career. I always felt this internal resistance, like it's not for me, but I couldn't find like a better way. So I kind of got stuck in that career path for a couple of years until I finally found something better. And so after that, I worked in as a customer success manager in another tech company where I was like advising just different corporations and on how to best implement the software that the company had. Um, and after that, I worked like a project manager who to sort of just help implement applications internally in the company. And
Mm.
so yeah, and I want to say this. So regarding productivity, what I noticed is Um, when you're in an unfulfilling job that's not a good match for your personality type, interests, or just your natural given talents or skills, there's going to be a lot of resistance to what you're doing. That's what I also notice with some of my clients. And so this resistance will also affect your productivity. Okay, it's going to be more difficult to get up in the morning. You won't have that purpose that's driving your every single action. It's like, yeah, it's much difficult this way, I would say. So being aligned with your career path, that's a really great productivity tip that I can give people.
Yeah.
Just, I once had this conversation with a client of mine, and I told her, you know what, I use Task Manager for both my personal and the work stuff, and she was like, why would you use your Task Manager for personal stuff? Like, for me, I just want to do my work and not. I don't want to look at my tasks anymore. And I said, I think there's some resistance here because, like, for me, uh, I I have to stop myself from working because I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
And so some people have this internal built resistance for what they do, that they sort of want to, shut everything out after, close everything off after they are done with their work, and they just want to, go distract themselves with Netflix or
Yeah.
whatever, right? Social media. But
Pleasures.
I'm not
Yeah.
like that. I think I used to be like that. I used to distract myself when I was in the career path that was not aligned to me. But now that I am aligned with what I want to do and who I am, it's like, yeah, I want to do more of this stuff. And it's like, I don't want to stop. I sometimes have to stop myself from just working more, uh, because it's just like a part of who you are and not something like external that you have to do, right? You probably know that yourself.
I recognize it very well, especially in comparison to my old job. So I really resonate with that story.
Yeah.
It's a great tip to kind of end the conversation with. So thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording. Um, is there something somewhere that people can find you and reach out to you directly?
I would say the easiest way was probably is probably a LinkedIn. So I usually send people there, and yeah. So if someone is interesting and would like to connect, then yeah, just add me there, and that's for now. That's the best way.
Amazing.
Um,
Then I will add
I'm
that link as well there in the description itself, and
uh,
then people can
yeah,
find you.
perfect. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, team. Great to be here. Nice talk.